Hey, this is Danny with Helps Custom, and I'm going to show you an 8-inch former kit I made. Just getting ready to box it up and ship it off, and thought I'd show you some of the features before I take it all, cover it all up. So let me give you a quick look before I break it down. This is sassafras wood. These are the hardware I talked about on the forum that I distressed. And I hand carved the 8 in there, and it's got, former inset formers and then tools. Not that it's really not really useful, it's just they're kind of like a cool factor. My style is to kind of make things look like it's been taken care of but is old. Now, even though this all latches together, realistically you're not going to carry it as one unit because it's just too heavy. But it is nice for transportation inside your vehicle to have it locked together. It does have these little, I guess you would call ledger boards to kind of help line it up. Kind of drops right in there and then it'll latch right up. And it also protects the bottom of the former, kind of like a foot, to keep it off the ground. This is what it looks like before I take it out. All you got to do is move this off to the side to get the former out. It'll slide back. It's on this pin right here. To get the lid, it has to be perfectly level to line up with the lid. If not, the lid won't close, and it's just to ensure that this is always in the correct place so the former can't move. When this is in here, you could turn this box upside down and this won't fall out. This is ash and hackberry. It's all highly polished. I take it, it actually doesn't really have a finish on it, even though it looks like it does. I sand it all the way up to 4,000 grit sandpaper, and what that does is that burnishes the grain perfectly closed. It'll bead water even though it has no finish on it. But it really makes it nice for getting the case off of here. Now this will fit into a foot that I'll show you that stands it up. And the flashbag hole goes about half the length. And of course it's got a vent. I don't know if you could see this or not, but there's a little spline of hardwood in there. And what I do is after I slide this copper sleeve on, I drive that spline in, and that wedges the wood tight against this so it can't come off. Just kind of like how you do an axe head. And it goes with the grain of the wood, so it's just a different way of doing it. Just kind of make it look more traditional or old build. Now, also, this is all felt lined. I don't know if you could see that earlier. This is the canoe set that comes with it. It goes from a 1/2 inch all the way to 2 inch. The length is for 8-inch shells, of course. You could use this on other stuff, but it would probably be, the length might get annoying because when you fill it with black powder or with your burst charge, it's kind of hard to tell your height, so you kind of have to measure and make sure you're not overfilling it so that when you remove it, it doesn't spill out everywhere. But The caps slide off, but I have some tape around the inside of this so it fits snug. That way everything doesn't fall out. But it all goes together, you know, like nesting dolls, as you can see. Just kind of makes it nice to have it all there. My voice is going, and plus I'm got a crazy migraine, so I'm not in great shape. So I sound like hell right now. This is the top. I like the way this top panel looks. It's got some discolored natural wood coloring in it, and that sassafras. Man, this wood smells great when you're cutting with it. It's a real joy to work with. I put these latches on the front for a reason. Cosmetically, it would look better if it was on the side. But if I did that, you wouldn't be able to flip this all the way open like that and have it lay flat. And that's what I wanted. So just to kind of point out that's why that is that way. These are all the insert formers. It's got little dividers to help kind of keep them in the right order. This does lift up, and the spiking template is underneath there, and there's room to put some extra disc and stuff there. This goes all the way up to 3-inch. All of them are drilled and vented. And the way this is all constructed is they're all leveled out underneath so that they all come real close to the top. That's why this side is all leveled out to get them that way. That way when the lid goes on, it keeps some downward pressure on them, on all of them, and that keeps them from banging around and getting all dented and marred up. Because I could, you know, when you first look at it, it doesn't really kind of make sense why I did that, but that's the reasoning behind it. And it still slides in easy. I mean, it's not hard to get in. It's all well waxed and machined well. So. See that or not. This is the stand for the former. This is a tool. This is Ipe. Again, this has no finish on it at all. I mean, I got a coat of wax, but it looks no different with the wax on it versus no wax. Sanded to 4000 grit, but it's really hard stuff. And it's just made for pounding everything tight as you build the shell. And that's what this kit here is. I don't know if you can see that or not. These are like little rammers. Some of them are a little bigger and heavier. Real tiny ones. Each end is a different size. This one acts like a crowbar. You can't really tell it on camera, but there's a lever mechanism here, and it's kind of scooped out. But you can get a hold when you drop it down in the case, kind of manipulate a comet around. And if you're trying to get a wedge of wood in between one to get it nice and tight, it can help aid in that. This is like a little triangle. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's triangle shaped. Again, to go in between the comets and get all that nice and packed tight. And these are also made out of Ipe. very, very hard, durable wood. I've been using mine for 3 years, I guess, since I made my kit. And it's been doing really well. This is the slap hammer. Nothing special there. Show you what it looks like on the. Just drops down in there like that. And this got recycled rubber pad on there. It kind of has a little bit of wiggle room, but if I make it any tighter, you damn near can't get it off of there. So, and if you got to move it around, it kind of stays on there, which is nice. That's how you really want it. Now this is something new I started putting in the kits, and I'll show you how you use it. Now, an apex cutter doesn't come with it, but everybody has one. And cutting like thin tag board is cumbersome. You know, everybody has their preference on how they do things and what they use and whatnot. But if you're using, if you do need to cut thin tag board, it's easy to tear. Cutting the thicker stuff is so much easier. You can pretty much get away with anything. So this is the recycled rubber pads I was talking about. We call them pig mat around here. They're for stalls and farms and feedlots and stuff like that. But what I did is I got a roll pin that goes through there, and it goes all the way through to the other side. So this is reversible. You can use either side. This wood is made like a butcher block countertop. There's many layers of wood, and the grain is alternated to keep it super flat. So if you've never used one of these rubber pads, man, they cut so nice with one of these cutters. And I'll show you. You just kind of just poke it through and line it up at that hole. You can see the cut is perfect. There's no tear lines where it joins back up. You look at the results on there. When you try to do that any other way, you never quite get it right. Once when you get used to using these, you won't know how to use that apex cutter without it. I'm not kidding, it's really nice. The wood side works just as well. For certain things, cutting on wood is ideal, but I really kind of prefer the rubber for just about anything. But the wood is mainly on here to keep this nice and flat. That's also important. You can just stab the cutter through any part of this pad and use it. But you don't want to get in that habit, because as you do and you start making a bunch of circle areas, you can't see the circles as it cuts through it. This rubber is like self-healing. But once that cutter goes back over another area perpendicular to it, it starts creating little voids in here. And over time, it'll start kind of get a slight pitted look to it. And then when you start making cuts in thin material, you get tears and rips and all kinds of crap. So now this rubber doesn't come this smooth when I get it. I actually run it through my wide belt sander a few times. And it's a little scary running it through that machine. Because as you can imagine, rubber creates a lot of heat and friction. And it's not really the safest thing to do, but it does make it super flat and smooth. And it just makes a really nice product for that apex cutter. This is just another rubber pig mat, just for using, you know, utility knife or whatever, cutting on. That way, so you won't be tempted to use this. everything fits in there pretty snug. It doesn't rattle around. It goes in pretty easy. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you all that before I send it off to its new home. I plan on making at least one more of these, and the other cases are in the works. I got piles of material over here for them. I got all those rammer kits made, all the slap hammers made, all the insert formers are made, all the formers are made. It's just, and the boxes are dovetailed. I just don't have them all put together and all the pieces assembled. And that takes longer than you would think it does. It really does. But we're getting there and making progress. So thanks a lot.